Hi, and welcome back to Module 2. Ooh la la, love those vowels. I make a statement on that opening page there that English is a vocalic language, and I say I love the vowels, and I do. And I hope you're going to love them too, because you'll learn as you go through this program that the vowels really carry the music of the language. One of my students said it best when he said, the vowels, Patty, they seem to carry the soul of the language. Vowels are wonderful because you can elongate them, you can shorten them. Some of them are just beats. Some of them are really very musical. And you're going to see that as we go through. So let's start, okay? Now it says there on the page 13 there, the 5 vowel letters and their many sounds. You'll see me looking down because I too have the script. I don't want to miss anything. And you see there it says that you probably, like all of us, know that English has 5 vowels: A, E, I, O, and U, and sometimes Y and W. But what many of you don't know is that those 5 vowel sounds actually can spread out to, depending on where in the world you are and what you're using your English for, as many as 27 sounds. Now, in standard North American English, there are about 23 vowel sounds. For this mini course, we're going to cover the 14 main vowel sounds that if you master them, you'll be good to go. If you want to get into more detail, then you have to take a course and study more in detail, and that takes much more work than what you're going to get in this little mini program. But I believe that if you really work hard in this mini program, you will come away from here with enough information to at least begin to notice a difference in the way in which you're sounding. You know, accent gets basically broken into two parts: the pronunciation of sounds, the articulation of sounds, and then putting all those sounds together into the musical aspects or components of the language. So, as I say, 5 vowel sounds: A, E, I, O, U, and then we have what we call their relatives. And just like all of us, some of these relatives are a little unruly. And some of these relative vowel sounds like to have their own rules. But believe it or not, by the end of this module and the next module, you'll have a very good grip or handle, as we say, on how to work these sounds. But as I said in the introduction, you really have to practice. I'm serious. I'd like you to take 1 week at least per module. This is a foundational program. Every week is built upon the foundation that we established the week before. I'm that kind of teacher. I'm an old school girl. We go back to the basics. We do foundation and we build on it. And if there's a crack in the foundation, then we go back and we fill those cracks in the foundation always, because you can't put the sounds together if you can't make the sounds. Now, let's look at page 14, Understanding English Vowel Sounds. Now, before we delve too deeply into all those sounds, let's take a look at some basic facts. We always differentiate vowel names, A, E, I, O, and U, from their relative sounds, a, I, a, a, e. You'll learn them all. You already know how to make them, you just don't know the symbols for them. Individual speech sounds are defined by the way in which the breath is used to make those sounds. And you're going to discover that vowels are made by an unobstructed flow of air from the diaphragm down below the belly, the seat of breathing and the seat of voice. And the way that air comes up and across the vocal cords, and the way in which you direct that air out of the mouth. In vowels, A, E, I, O, U. It's done a lot by the shape of the mouth and the lips, the movement of the back of the tongue, and the shape of the cheeks. And you'll learn that as you go. We have something that's very important in English, in all languages, but especially in English. We have voiced sounds and voiceless sounds. Voiced sounds mean that the vocal cords or the voice box are turned on, they vibrate. Make the sound ah, and then make the sound ah. You will feel a vibration. Ah. All vowel sounds are voiced. You'll learn that not all consonant sounds are voiced, and that becomes important. But all vowels are voiced. As I said a moment ago, all vowel sounds are produced as the breath or the air flows freely out of the mouth. And it is the way in which we direct the air that utters the sounds. So you see, vowels are made by rounding your lips, as in ooh or o, ah. And in other times it's made by spreading, as in e, a, I. There's different ways in which we spread our lips. All vowel sounds, though, require the tip of the tongue to rest just below the bottom teeth. So put your tongue lightly there, gently. Don't press. Just put it there gently and say, and don't move it. Don't move the tongue. A, E, I, O, U. You could practice those sounds with that tip of the tongue there. Now, vowel sounds are also made by the movement of what they call the blade of the tongue. I can't touch the blade of the tongue. I can't show you the blade of the tongue because it's from the middle of the tongue to the back. And if I were to touch it, of course, it makes that response, that gag response. So you're going to have to trust me that a lot of the movement in vowels comes from the back, the middle to the back of the tongue. Now, if you're like 95% of my students, you don't feel the movement of the middle to the back of your tongue. I don't feel it that much either. I do now because I work all the time and I teach all the time, but it has taken me years to feel where the position of what they call the blade of the tongue is. You know, if this were a linguistics course or if there was an exam at the end, I would be more concerned about this because there would be a place up in the exam that said, where is the blade of the tongue when you make these sounds? But as I keep saying, there are no exams here. What's important to me are that you learn how to make those sounds. And how you make those sounds is by learning, first of all, I want you to have a mirror. I want you to watch me, and then I want you to watch yourself make the sounds in the mirror. Sometimes I'm going to ask you to feel the sounds. And always I'm going to ask you to hear the sounds. Now, sometimes you can't feel because sometimes we're talking about what's going on in the throat, but you can still take that moment to notice what's the difference between E and E. See, is called schwa. It's the most common sound in the English language. It's the most relaxed sound. You have to know schwa. It's one of the most important features of our language. It is absolutely relaxed. But E, there's movement. There's length difference. There's all kinds of difference. So that's what I want you to know. If you can feel the back of your tongue, the middle of your tongue, that's wonderful. It's not that important. Where it does matter and why I have to refer to it is if you were to go and look in a pronunciation book and see a vowel chart, the vowel chart would be written according to where the blade of the tongue is. If I were to rewrite those books, I would reword them all because it's my experience that it's not that important that you know that. What's more important is that you see how you make the sound here, that you feel how you make the sound, and then you put it all together by noticing how it sounds. And that combination of see it, feel it, hear it is the trick to really making the new synapses in the brain and the new muscle memories to help you remember how to make these sounds. Because once you feel something, you never forget. You go back in your memory. How did that feel? So that's what I'm going to be asking you to do. Now, please go to page 15, your vowel symbols page. These are the vowel sounds that we are going to cover in this course. You're going to see the vowels by name written in their symbols, and you're going to see words beside them, and that word beside the symbol is going to tell you the sound of that symbol. And that's how that's what I want you to get used to. So the I with that little Y up there is E. E. Now you see, when you see that little Y or a little W, that's a secret to tell you that that vowel is going to sound its own name, E, as opposed to E. It's going to be long, E, not E, which is short, or I, which is short, E. And we have, with that little Y up there tells you it's an off glide. Now what does that mean? It means it glides down a little bit. E. C. Repeat that, please. Peace. E. See it. E. It's tense. E. Now, let's go. E. Eh, as in sit. E. Eh. See, E. Tense. Eh. Lips are still spread, but much more relaxed. Eh. Sit. Give. E. Eh. Repeat that, please. E. Eh. See. Sit. Peace. Give. Very good. Now let's go down to the long A. A. Again, it has that little Y up top there. That tells you it's long. It tells you it's going to off glide, meaning it's going to be long. It's going to go down a little at the end. That's the musicality to these long notes. A. Hear that? Ba. It's a beautiful sound. It's music. A. Say. Break. Yes, I'm saying it a little extra long, but that's good. The word would be break. But I want you to really hear that off glide. Break. So let's compare see, sit, say. Repeat that, please. See, sit, say. Very good. Very good. Feel it. When you're finished with this video, get your mirror and watch. And does your face look like my face? Are you moving in the same manner in which I'm moving? If not, try to mimic me, okay? Now let's go from A to its relative E, as in rest. E, E, rest. Head. A, E. Say, rest. Say, rest. Look at my face. Say, rest. There's such a difference in movement. And that's the secret, is mastering those muscles that make those movements. This is why I keep calling you athletes, because you've got to master that muscular movement so that you can conduct the air across the vocal cords to make the sounds that you want to make. See, you're in a gymnasium. You're athletes in training. Let's go from E to A. Now, A, I call this the good old American A as apple pie. This is A as in apple pie, okay? Map. And many of you, especially those of you who have a British history in your learning of English, you'll find laugh. It's funny to have laugh there because many of you say laugh. But this is North American English, and we say laugh. It's got that good old American ah sound. So repeat now. Ah, map, laugh, ah, laugh. See? Not laugh. That's a different movement. And pardon my British, and I'm exaggerating it, so it's really bad, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm trying to make a point, as opposed to laugh. Very good. Now let's go. Say, rest, map. Say, rest, map. Rest is very short. Say is very long. And map is somewhere in between the two. You're going to hear throughout this course, English is a 3-note language, and there's a little clue as to how the notes break down through vowels. But don't worry, because you'll learn more as we go. Now let's go to that sound under map, which is that upside down E. That is called schwa. You'll hear the word schwa a lot. You need to get very, very friendly with schwa, because schwa is the most common sound made in the English language. Schwa is the most relaxed sound of the English language. Schwa is the lowest note in the English language. It is the shortest note in the English language. All vowel sounds can be reduced to schwa. As you see in the first word shut, you have the U has gone to schwa. It's not shoot, it's not shut, it's shut. Completely relaxed. So please say shut. Now, a moment ago I said is the lowest note, and it's a beat. And that's very well evidenced in our next word, ago. Ago. It's the low note, and then go goes up, ago. It's the shortest. It's not a go, it's not a go, it's a go. It's short. It's on the lowest step. It's the lowest note. Note and step. You'll hear me use those words interchangeably. It means the same thing. We call it step because we have a step, a staircase intonation pattern in English. And we put notes on those steps. So you'll hear high step, high note. You'll hear medium step, medium note. You'll hear low step, low note. It's the same thing, okay? You're going to find a lot of the language is interchangeable as we go through this course. Don't worry about it. I will do my very best to make sure I'm keeping it nice and clear so that you're not confused. Okay, so ago. Let me hear you say that, please. Ago. So now let's go. Say, rest, map, shut. Ma, ba, ba. Do you hear there's little rhythms there? Now, the next one. For many of you, this is a difficult sound, especially if you're coming from Europe. And I just want you to know that this is North American English, and we do make our vowel sounds a little bit differently. So for many of you, you'll struggle a little bit between this in father and in bought, because many of you will say father. You'll confuse the two. Normally, if I'm just teaching students who are in the United States, I don't include that backward C, the bought. I don't, because they don't use it. But in standard North American English, it is used. We use it in Canada. I'm a Canadian, and I'm using a lot of the resources from Canadian English, which really do resonate the most with the standard North American. So let's look at those two sounds, the as in hot and father. This is the sound when you go to the dentist, What's the difference? The little backward C underneath, ah. Hot, bought. Father, law. Now, if you struggle with these two, it's not going to terribly interfere. As a matter of fact, I don't think most people would notice it. But it is my job to teach you the correct sounds of the standard North American English. So I want you to know there is a difference between them. A backward C is longer. You open your mouth more, and it's a little longer in the sound. But let's just repeat after me and try your best to say them. And if you struggle with them, take your time. And if you don't get them exactly as I do, honestly, it's not the end of the world, and nobody's going to say, I didn't understand what you said. These sounds are so closely related that they're almost conjoined twins. One is a little bit longer than the other. Okay, let's do as in hot. Short, hot. Father. Bought. Law. Very good. Now, these next two sounds are very difficult for so many of you. And I'm going to give you a secret right now. The main difference is tension. Ooh. Ooh. They're made in the back of the throat. They're called back vowels. They're quite high. The only difference really is tension. Boot. Shoe. Book. Could. You can see there's hardly any movement in my face. This is why you must have your trusty little mirror. Do your lips move in the same way in which mine are? It's so very, very important. Now, on the right-hand side here, we have the complex vowels. These are also known as diphthongs. And let's just take a look at them for a moment. They're long. O, as in go. It's an off glide because now you see that W, and when you see that W, there's an off glide. Even in boot, ooh, it's long and it glides down. That's the music of the vowels that take their own name, A, E, I, O, and U. They are all long vowels. They all glide down as they have music. The parents of these relative vowel sounds, the parents A, E, I, O, and U are very musical. Okay, go, road. Now the next one, I. This is a diphthong because it really does require two sounds. I. You can see the movement of my face. I, to make them, as in by, side. You see, a diphthong is a vowel where we make two vowel sounds. We co-articulate them, one immediately after the other. And now let's go to ow, as in house. Look at how wide the mouth opens. House. Now. Don't be afraid to open your mouth. It's very, very important to use your mouth in that. Repeat again, please. House. Now. And finally, oi, as in toy and voice. Toy, voice. Excellent job. Now, we've talked about the positions of the vowels in spoken English. I want you to read this page on your own, page 16. I want you to have your mirror. I want you to be able to see. I want you to be able to feel. I want you to be able to hear. And then I want you to take a little mental snapshot, a little picture of how it all goes together, and remember it. Remember the feeling rather than the language that we use to describe the feeling. Now let's quickly go to page 17, the vowel chart, okay? This vowel chart is to help you with your Practice Makes Permanent home study unit. Now, it doesn't matter, again, this high, mid, low, that's really the position of the middle to the back of the tongue. If you can feel it, that's great. If you're not certain, you can get a chopstick such as this, and you can feel the movement of the tongue. But as I say, there's no exam. It's not a linguistics course. It's not that important that you really feel it. What is important is that you feel E, tense, I, relaxed, E, I, E, I. Now, do you feel that's forward E? It's quite a forward sound. If you can feel it, fabulous. If not, it's not the end of the world. Make the sound the way I sound. And if you are making it the way I'm making it, then it will be E, will be tense. It will be high, and it will be in the front. E, if you have your chopstick and you put it in there, E, you feel the tongue very much forward. That's what it means. Now, if you were to go to the back and put the chopstick there, ooh, all of a sudden you can't even feel the middle of the tongue because it's gone so far to the back. That's what front and back means. But most of all, I want you to feel beat, boot, beat, boot, bit, bit, bit. In the lax vowels, you hardly feel anything. Put, put, bait. It's a little lower. It's more in the middle. You probably can feel the tongue is a little bit more in the middle. The voice comes down. E is quite up high. There's a lot of tension. A is a little lower. There's less tension. Now, you can't think this. You must feel this. So you could close your eyes, get very honed in to what it is that you're saying. And this is why I want you to take at least a week, because you can't do this in a second. You can't read it and get it. It won't work that way, dear student, and you'll be very frustrated. So go through these, make the sounds A, eh, ah. So let's go down the front vowel. Beat, bit, bait, bet, bat. And if you keep practicing that, going down that list, the front list, you'll feel the difference. Let's go to the central ones. That most relaxed vowel, schwa, I mean, you look kind of ugly when you make it because there's just no movement. You're flat. Your face is totally flat. And ah, ah, ah. And then the back ones. Boot, put, boat, bought, boot, put, boat, bought. So practice up. Take as long as it does as necessary for you to master these, because I'm telling you, and I promise you, you cannot go forward linking the sounds later at the end of this program if you do not master first and foremost the vowels, these 14 vowel sounds. Take away, there are 5 vowel names, A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y and W, because they help us elongate the vowel. And then you have all the unruly relatives and cousins. Feel the difference, the relative vowel sounds. Remember, we're not talking just about A. When we talk about A, are we talking about A? Are we talking about E? We're talking about the sounds. You see, no matter what you read, you're going to read the letter A, but that's not what your ear is hearing. Your ear is hearing a different language than what your eye is reading. Once you've mastered this, dear student, then I'll see you on the other side. Module 3, we're going to get into stress is just another word for accent, and we're going to learn how to start to add music to those vowels. So do yourself a favor and master ooh la la. Love those vowels. Okay, get to work. See you on the other side. Bye now.